Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Healing Body, Mind, and Soul with Aeriol. I'm your host, Aeriol Asher, and I have the honor and privilege today to be here with the fabulous Ann Jonas, the Lotus Coach. Now, I've known Ann for quite some time. We've done a lot of speaking stuff together, a lot of workshops, and I just thought it would be so wonderful to have her on the show today. Ann is a healer extraordinaire, massage therapist, energy worker, doula. She's absolutely amazing. And I just thought it would bring so much value to our listeners to have her on today in this Friday Healing Practitioner interview series that I'm doing. So without further ado, I won't keep her from you a moment longer. Please welcome Ann Jonas. Hi, Ann.
Hi, Aeriol. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this.
So go ahead, Ann. I'm turning it over to you. Tell everybody who you are and what you're up to.
Okay. So as you heard, I am the Lotus Coach, and my passion has been for decades now helping and supporting people. And I have found different ways that I've been able to materialize and monetize that. Simply from the beginning, I worked as a waiter in a fine dining restaurant, and I saw that as helping and supporting people through a dining experience. And that evolution, as you spoke of, doing body work and energy work and doula work, has all shifted me forward. And my current position in helping and supporting people is as a personal life coach, speaker, workshop facilitator, and writer. My passion is in helping people where I've named my platform moving from horrendous to heroic. Because the truth is, shift happens.
Shift happens. Amen. Sing it, sister.
Yes, yes. So that's in essence who I am and where I've been and what I'm doing. So continuing on, my work in helping people to move from horrendous to heroic is in accessing what our own personal journey is, because we are here to accomplish something. Every single one of us has gifts and purpose, and part of the journey is seeing through the life experiences, gathering the meaning, and recognizing what we're being called here to do. And it's my passion to support people in honoring that that is a crux of our life, and that being willing to step in to these life events and experiences and choices is a great deal of how we find our way.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, so what's the story? Where did all this start? How did you get going on your healing journey, Ann? Was there something? Did you come out of the womb doing Reiki? What's the deal with you?
Well, I would say that as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to help people. And I was, in essence, drawn to having discussions with people from a very young age, and just being there and present, and without even knowing that I was doing this, holding space.
Oh yeah, I get that. I was too. The Peanuts character Lucy, how she used to have her psychiatric advice or advice 5 cents. I was totally ready for that at age 5. Right? Were you like that, Ann? Yeah, yeah. My family encouraged it. So.
Well, it's funny because in some ways I represented the mother in all facets of what the mother is, the mother being a nurturing, loving, caring, honoring other people. And that in essence is a core fire that I carry. And mothering in the doula world, is mothering the mother. So there's an element of, there's a core thread that I have always been drawn to, which is literally helping and supporting people. And it's manifested in multiple ways. And I've been able to work with mind, body, spirit. You know, I had a drive in high school to become a therapist or a psychologist.
Yeah.
And at the time, the field of psychology, in my opinion, was very limited. And it was really about, you know, finding what box to put people in and then working with them in that box. And at that point in my teenage years, I knew that that was so limiting, that even though I didn't have the words to express, in my heart and in my core, it's not that simple. You know, right. Yet now that I've done my work and my workshops, which are titled Moving from Horrendous to Heroic, the 7 strategies for conscious living, I have been able to distill down that there are some particular things that we can all learn how to draw into our lives to support our own conscious growth and evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I was the same way, and you know, they didn't have somatic psychology when I started out, and basically that's what I was doing. And they didn't have holistic healers. I started as a hypnotherapist and said I can't work with just the mental aspect. I need to work in the body because I'm kinesthetic. So then I did, you know, this and that and the other thing, because for me, that balance of body, mind, and soul is what is really important. And, you know, my platform is more the self-healing on the aspect of spiritual, emotional, life force energy, you know, that kind of consciousness. I've interviewed so many practitioners now, and it's so funny. I think the core message of all of the people that I have interviewed has been really, really the same. It's wonderful to hear everybody and how they wrap their language around what they're doing. But it seems that we're all up to the same thing. So I just feel so honored that I get to bring us all together on the platform of this podcast, where we can kind of swap ideas and borrow language. And you know, for communication wise, it's really about how are we doing it, right? It's not how are we doing it. Like you talked about how archetypes in your life, you know, you have a very strong mother archetype. I love that. You're very nurturing spirit. But, you know, finding life purpose isn't necessarily what's on everybody's to-do list.
True. I'll agree with that statement.
So how are we gonna rock and roll and shake people up so that it is?
Well, you know, I think it's a combination of things. I really do feel that we're all here to serve our own journey. You know, we have that statement, we've heard it many, many times, ignorance is bliss. Right? This idea that, you know, it isn't hard when you don't know better. And I believe that each one of us has a certain, and I don't like to use the word destiny, but, you know, there's a certain purpose that we don't all know about. And it shows up in our life experiences. And that is what ends up shaking us up. So everyone's going to have that show up at some point, possibly in childhood. You know, my parents got divorced when I was 11. That rocked my world. And there were experiences I had in my family growing up that also contributed to shaking things up for me, helping me re-identify with who I am and how I interact with people. And everybody has a story like that in their own version. And so part of it is, yes, how do we wake everybody up on this planet? Because it's happening regardless. It's happening in governments, it's happening in independent countries, it's happening on the entire planet, locally, globally. So we all are witnesses to it on some level. And then part of that is, like you said, what do we do to internalize it in our own story? And how do we allow our story and the stories of the all to support us in waking up? Because it's happening regardless. So it's about following that inner drive and listening to the inner messages that are being relayed. You said something about there are lots of people that you were drawn to, lots of messages that you heard. And the way that the people you've interviewed have shared almost all the same thing, right? With a different spin on it.
Different flavors,
yes,
absolutely.
Yes. So the truth is that there is a truth. There is a bottom line to all that is. And we are all sharing it with our own personal story attached to it. And we will be drawn to the people with the message that we connect with. And so that's what I say to anyone who is out there seeking on any level. That means not only that you are drawn to learn, but I will also say you are drawn to teach. Because if you're looking and you're hearing something magnificent from my talk or from anyone's talk, that means that you have something also to offer. And that creates that loop that we're all in existence together. It is a collective consciousness on this planet, in our universe, in all energy. And everything that everyone does is felt on some level to the all. And that's just, I think there's a certain responsibility in our lives as we walk through the individual experiences and the day-to-day, knowing that we're all connected.
Right. Something that you said just sparked a thought to me, and I don't think that everybody has the teaching archetype. I don't think that everybody has that. I mean, I think everybody has different gifts, but, you know, just like everybody doesn't have, we talked earlier about the mother archetype. Even some mothers don't have the mother archetype. Yeah, I speak from personal experience, because I was really the mother in my so the archetypes express themselves differently. Isn't that what astrology is about? And personality, and whatever happens to us kind of shapes all of that, right? And so I don't know if everybody has the teaching archetype. So I'm gonna ruminate on that.
Well, I think to not make it black and white, to not really have it stand in an archetype, more that if you're drawn to a podcast like this, or a workshop, or a movement, because something is pulling you that way, or let's say you have a conversation with somebody that sparks some inner ideas of, wow, I always thought that was possible, or I've never heard it put that way. What I want to offer is that to be curious, allow that to move through you, and to know that you can speak about it, not necessarily teach it, but it continues.
Yes.
Does that make sense? That shifted a little bit. So
yes,
that's
I understand.
Teach in a broad standpoint. But I
got you.
That we do have archetypes, and we're not all here to do the exact same work. And that's where that idea of we all have a different purpose, therefore a different unfolding.
I was just getting hung up on the language there. I think I was reading the label. So that's awesome. Well, this is awesome stuff, and I'm sure our listeners are getting a lot of value out of that. Can you tell everybody what's next for you? What is the next on Ann Jonas's plate?
So it's a combination of things. For one, there's a book inside me that I've been little by little working through, and I'm very excited to have 2019 be a year where I can get a manuscript planted. So that is very excited to have it show up this year. So moving from horrendous to heroic, that is my platform, and that is my identity. And so you'll find that if you search me in all of my work. So I'm doing regular workshops with the moving from horrendous to heroic premise. My vision is to create a retreat, which will encompass lots of different ways to do mind, body, spirit, healing, and growth, and this book. So following me on Facebook is the best way to keep track of my brand and my purpose and my vision, as well as my workshops. And my work as a personal life coach is something that I am very passionate about, helping people through their lives and through the journey, and that's always available as well.
That is wonderful. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and thank you, Ann, for spending your VIP time with us today. And until next time, everybody, I wish you happy healing.